Hi everyone! Today we're going to be making a card with the Cheerful Daisies stamp set. I love this stamp set. This is from the annual catalog, so it's been out for a little while, and you can find a lot of great samples for this online. I did a really cute pop-up vase sample for it. There's another video for that, and it's been around, so a lot of people have been using it, so you'll find great samples if you put this name in at Pinterest or YouTube. I'll link my pop-up vase video to this one so you can see it. And anyway, I love this stamp set, and I love the dies and the creativity that was put into this set. So whoever designed this one, kudos. Let me show you a little bit about it. I normally show you a card that we're going to make, and I put it, we'll make this one and then I'll take a picture of it and put it in the thumbnail, but normally you see what you're doing ahead of time. But you don't today because I had to mail it out. So anyway, let me show you this die set and the stamp set because there's some intricacies here that are just beautiful. And so I want to show you the dies first. And this is like a big die that's all connected. And you can then cut them apart if you want or use them as a big focal point. And there's ways to customize this because if you'll notice, there's this die, which is kind of like a detail die. So you can use different papers. You can do a light yellow and then do this in a deeper yellow or vice versa, whatever. There's also this one, which is an outline die, and they all fit. So this would go like back here. You can do layers upon layers of different colors. Imagine different tones of pinks or yellows on there. It's just gorgeous. And I really love this. When I look at this Cheerful Daisies set, I think of not so much daisies actually. My mind goes to Black-Eyed Susans, and that's what we're going to make them as today. Or I like this particular one with the downward sloping petals, and I think of coneflower or echinacea that's in my garden. So I love just this type of petal on a flower. I also like cosmos, and maybe I could think it's cosmos. I don't know. Anyway, it's just gorgeous. And all of these flowers have this same kind of layering ability. So you've got an outline die and a detail die for all of them. Like so. Okay, and then you can also use them with the stamp. So the stamp has a flower, and you can cut out your image this way. I forget which, if they go this way when I'm doing it. Yeah. Okay, so you can cut out your stamped image. Also, we're going to use, just for our card, we're going to use the outlines, but I just wanted to show you the way that you can layer these because it's really quite clever, and I really like these dies. They give you some other things too. I also love when a die set comes with a label, and so here we have a label that fits the sentiments. So I love that. And then you've got some little things like sprigs here and a leaf. There is a leaf stamp, a little stem, and you can mix and match how you use these. And these are centers, so you can stamp maybe your flower in a color, and then the center could be a different color or a brown, which is what we're going to do for our Black-Eyed Susans today. So I wanted to show you these and how you can use them. The stamps themselves also have an outline stamp and then a filler stamp, so you can choose to stamp the outline and then fill with a color. Or maybe you can do like a dark color outline, maybe let's say berry burst, for example. If you were going to make these cone flowers, you could do a berry burst and then do a filler with bubble bath or something like that. Or maybe you could do blackberry bliss and berry burst together. That would be beautiful. So you can do things like that, or some different yellows. It's just really beautiful. Or you can color them in yourself with markers or colored pencils. So there's so many options and so much ways to use this creatively that I think it's a great little thing to have. So I wanted to show you those before we got into it. Okay, but these are what we're going to use today. And I've already cut out from that die set 2 sets of these little sprigs, which I cut in Early Espresso. And I also cut apart that big die I showed you, and all we're going to use are these little leaves. And I just had some scraps of white laying around, so I just kind of placed that white under the die and cut out these little leaves, and we're going to tuck those under our main image. So we've got our, and I have a label already cut and ready to go. Okay, so here are our papers. We have crumb cake. Our base is crumb cake, scored in the center at 4 1/4. So. And then I cut another piece of crumb cake at 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just chopped it on a diagonal like this, and that way I'm gonna make, I make several of these. I like to make more than one, even if I'm just making for myself, but when I'm doing for stamp camp or preparing for a meeting or something, it's nice to make multiple. So I just cut it in half And there we have it. And if we have a lot of people coming, I tend to do the embossing myself ahead of time so that there's not a lot of people waiting for the cranky machine, because we also have to, we do have to stamp first before they can cut these out, so I couldn't do those ahead. But I did this ahead, so that is already done. Okay, so then we have some designer series paper, and I love this paper. It's called Country Lace, and it's eyelets, and I love the colors. You've got like this denim look. We're going to use that. This is basic beige. We've got, I think it's smoky slate. Maybe it's gray granite. Let me see. Smoky slate and petal pink. And there are, look at this denim piece. I love that. Different types of lacy eyelets. And here's that petal pink. It's a really fun paper pack. I really enjoy it. So we're going to use a few pieces from that today. So I've got this one as our background, and we're going to go ahead and layer it like so. You could also cut this to save on paper and layer it that way. I did not, because I find sometimes a big group that people have a hard time lining things up, and that way they know exactly how to line that up. But you could cut it if you're trying to save paper. Just cut it on a diagonal at the same time you're cutting this, that way you know they line up, right? And then you've got your pieces. Now I also cut some of this denim look, and that's just going to go across here. When I'm cutting, I end up having these little strips left over. When you're cutting 5.5 or 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 on a 12-inch piece, you end up with this strip left over. So I cut that strip into little pieces like this, and we use these on the inside. Rather than have a little strip of paper that's going to hang out forever in my office, I like to just bring some of that outside paper to the inside of my card, and I just put it right there. And this is going to be on the inside. That's 4 by 5 1/4 in basic white. And then we cut, or I cut ahead of time, this is 6 by 2.5, and we're going to use this to decorate the flap of our envelope. I just love this denim color. I wanted to bring more of it in. It's going to be on the outside of the envelope, but I still love it anyway. And I think it's kind of fun for people to get this in the mail. They'll get an envelope that has some paper on it. It'll look beautiful. Okay, so then let's get to our stamping. We are going to need a piece of scrap white to stamp some flowers. And I'm going to do, like I said, Daffodil Delight. What did I do with it? Here we go, on my little ones. Now crushed curry would work too. When I did a crushed curry one, and I thought it was a little dark, but you could. So I'm going to do 2 of this size flower, and I'm going to do 1 of this one. Maybe I should have stamped the big one first. See if it fits on this space here. I bet it will. And then my big one, I'm going to stamp in Early Espresso. Okay, it almost looks black, but. And then these are the little flower centers. So I'm going to stamp 1 here. Oops, I missed a little bit. There we go. And then there's also a big center for this side. There we go. All right. Oh, I'm going to need that for my sentiment. My sentiment is, I'm going to use the birthday one, wishing you the brightest birthday. I also love the Oops, a Daisy, so sorry. And if I was making daisies, I would do that. Are there yellow daisies, or are daisies always white? I don't know. Someone tell me. All right. Now sometimes it's nice to stamp first and then cut out. That way you know you can line it up. But these are photopolymer, which are clear, and so I can see through them pretty well. And I was hoping I would do a pretty decent job, so I think I did okay. Now for coloring this one, I thought it would be fun, and I saw someone did a similar thing. Maybe it was pink, where they just colored a little bit, and I thought it looked really pretty. So I'm just going to take my marker and just give little whoosh, 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 little bits of this daffodil. Instead of going all the way to the edges. All right. Once we get all of our stamping done, this card's going to get put together really fast, but I have some tips on how to lay out all these pieces onto your card. So now we just have to cut this out. I think it'll fit on my mini, which is nice because then you can see it. I think I have a newer plate than that. Let's see. Look at my plate. When I'm not filming, I use these really horrendous plates because I don't mind them, but I know I have some newer ones for you. There we go. Okay, let's see if this fits. Just barely. Okay, I thought I cut it to fit, but I wasn't sure. Okay, so if you haven't used one of these minis before, I do like them because it's right here on my desk, and my big one is kind of across the room, whereas this one just sits right off to the side, and I can move it right here and use it. Okay, you know, it is really close to the edge. I'm not sure if it'll cut, so I think I will cut this a little bit. Since I have to go 2 passes anyway, I might as well do them in bits because there are 2 of these, so I can't do them all at once anyway. Okay, line them up. I learned yesterday at a team meeting that there's such a thing called Post-it tape. Never heard of it, but Julia brought some and it was amazing. So I need to go to the store and pick up some of that. I usually use washi tape if I feel like they're jiggling a lot, but I think this is pretty good. Okay. This paper slides around, but the glass mat gives a glare. So many problems. First world problems. All right. Okay, first pass. I got one of my small ones and my big one. Now I need to do this small one again. And this one. Now I know some people have a problem with this mini one, and that if you know how normally you want to you're tempted to line these plates up and get them all exactly in a nice line, but don't do that. You should stagger them. So I pushed one forward, and then this one will be back, because when they come against those rollers, if they're in a nice tight little pack, they don't want to go through. So if you stagger them, it grips and then it pulls them through. And I've never had a problem, but I know that some people have, and I think that is probably the case, is that they've got them lined up too well. And I usually push the middle one out so that the top kind of grabs that. Okay, there are all our pieces. We're done with the dies. Now we're just putting together. Okay, so I like to use my liquid glue for this. Oh, I wanted to show you something else with this. Oh my goodness, I thought I was done with stamping, but I'm not. I'm technically not stamping, but we are using ink. This is white craft ink, which is really fun product. A lot of people don't get it because they think, why do you need white? But white is really fun on a lot of things. And here's one way you can use it. You can kind of rub it against a die, or an embossed image, and see how it kind of, when you're rubbing it against it, the raised areas get more ink, and it just really shows up. This looks really nice on like that snowflake embossing folder, on a navy blue, but it looks nice on this eyelet too. So I thought that looked really pretty. So I wanted to do that. Okay, now I'm gonna glue. So I like my liquid glue. We're gonna take and put it all the way at the bottom. And then this strip here is gonna go across, and we're gonna glue that down and then just trim off the excess. Okay, and then I told you that I like to do this with my little strip. I'm gonna put it right here at the bottom. And then I cut out an extra daisy just for the purpose of putting it right there. So one of them is going on the inside. I was thinking, since I had this left over, I could make like a little, you know, like something coming out from there. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see what I think. I'm kind of playing on the fly here. You know, like it's a little ribbon coming out from under there. There, I kind of like it. Okay. Alrighty, and now this piece is going to go right on here, and you can decide, do you want to pop it up or not pop it up? I'm going to leave it flat because I'm going to pop up my flowers. And you know, the mail is getting more and more tricky these days when we put all these layers on. Okay. So, okay. Now, here's how I do my layering of these flowers. I like to think of it as like being a florist. So you're going to take your biggest piece and then fill around. So this is my biggest piece. And I'm going to put dimensionals only in the center because I don't want them, I like to use up all these little edges. I don't want to put them all the way on the edge because I want to tuck behind. So we're going to go ahead and place this down, a nice focal point. And then from there we can decide, what are we going to do? I'm going to put this down because I want to make sure that I have room for it. All right. So this is my birthday greeting. It's going to go right here. All right, so let's figure out some of these things. I want to put these are in the background, so I'm going to put those down first. And I want them like here. I like to do the liquid glue and then kind of shove them down in there. There. And now this white. Go. And here I'm going to start thinking before I place. I think this one's going to go there. And you can decide, do you want to pop this up? You can put that on a dimensional too. I think I'm going to let it be flat. And then this little guy, he can be like coming up over here. Yep. Alright, and then we've got one more leaf, and of course you could cut as many as you want. And alright, that is my little bouquet. Now you can add some bling if you want. And there are so many choices here, and I found, let's see, what did I have out? Oh, I had these opal rounds, but we used them up at Stamp Camp. They were called opal rounds, and they were blue and yellow and beige. They're perfect. But this is a retired one. The new ones kind of have the same colors except for this pink, which is kind of nice because that pack has pink. So I'm going to use these, even though they are not the same ones that we used at class. There are still some. They're called opal round something. Let me see if I can find them for you. Here they are. 25 opal round assortment. So there's a darker blue, which I actually like better. Darker blue and then kind of a goldish and kind of a clear. They're really nice. They're very similar to these, except the blue is slightly darker. So we're going to go ahead and use this one. You should check the clearance rack occasionally, because oftentimes, or maybe I'll just, since that blue's brighter, maybe I'll just stick with this one. Oftentimes you find some embellishments on the clearance area, or look maybe last chance list or clearance, that kind of thing, and you can find some great discounted embellishments and ribbon. I just picked up some great navy ribbon and some natural ribbon on the clearance. So I'm just going to put these around here and there, scatter them. That's all I'm going to do. All right, there's my card. I hope you like it. I hope you like the chopping on a diagonal. There's a few times that I've done that recently that I thought turned out really nicely. In fact, I have another one on my desk. This is same idea. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up or a like, or leave me a comment. Tell me if daisies come in yellow. Maybe these are daisies and not black-eyed Susans. I don't know. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye.